This is me. This is a skyscraper, and here are some zombies. To add on to the difficulty of this challenge, this skyscraper is also on fire. And when I say it's on fire, it is literally on fire. I may be getting myself into something way more than I can handle, but this here is the true beauty of Project Zomboid and its mods. Throughout this journey, many poor survivors have fallen victim to the challenges that this skyscraper presents. Will I be able to survive and finally escape this Tower of Inferno, or will I die trying? And here we are, finding ourselves on top of a skyscraper, out in the cold, dark night with nothing but the sound of zombies. Having absolutely no idea, nor expectations, I tried to find the safest way into the building full of zombies. And without any luck, all doors were locked shut, and I had no choice but to wait for my eventual demise as the zombies slowly broke through. Panicked, and with limited space, I tried to weave around each zombie, sneaking my way into the building. However, I quickly realized it was not a good idea, seeing as I could see nothing but pitch black darkness, getting bit in the process. I figured I had to escape, but not without a few bites, and very fatal ones at that. Realizing I had no time left, and not wanting to be zombie food, I had but one option left. Here we are yet again. This time, not expecting the door to open, I was taken aback by the swarm of zombies charging my way. I walked around in circles, waiting for a safe gap to make a break for it and find a way out of this skyscraper. Lacking knowledge of the amount of zombies in the building and being very unfamiliar with the tower's layout, I met a quick end at the hands of the zombies. And so, we find ourselves here yet again. Third time's the charm, so they say. After my first two failed attempts earlier, I did feel more confident in what to expect. So, I charged into the building at the first sign of a gap. I looked for a safe room where I could perhaps close the door on the zombies and slowly find my way out. However, I was badly wounded in the process and had to tend to them first. At this point, I had underestimated the time it would take for the zombies to break in, so I made a quick escape, scratching myself on the glass in the process. At this point, I was clueless as to what steps to take next. I was injured, had no idea of the building's layout, and would be surrounded by hundreds of zombies in the middle of the night. I felt daring and made another quick run for it, scouting out the interior in the process to gather as much information as I could. And as you may have guessed, it was another failure. I realized there was no way out except for going down. I ended up getting trapped and met a very miserable end the third time. Hello again. I'm back and smarter than my last run. With the grace period I had in the beginning, I went ahead and ripped up some of my clothes for rags and equipping my weapon as well. I figured instead of rushing through things to escape, I should probably take my time and slowly get rid of the zombies one by one, and that is exactly what I ended up doing. Absolutely cornered and outnumbered, I did my very best to decrease their numbers using the pistol at hand. However, things seemed to go absolutely nowhere. I ended up fighting and fighting and fighting for who knows how long throughout the night. With nothing but sheer willpower and optimism by my side, my chances at escape seemed to grow dimmer by the minute. I decided that maybe I decreased enough of the zombie numbers, and perhaps this was my chance. This was my opportunity to finally charge into the building, seeing as I was running low on ammo. I ended up making it further than I ever had before, but another terrifying death at the hand of the zombies. At this point, I just started to go full blasting from the get-go. I was honestly sick of this situation that seemed so impossible, so I decided it was a good idea to start blasting with every bullet I had. After what seemed like forever, fighting from the start of the night, throughout the night, and into the morning sun, it finally seemed like I stood a chance. The number of zombies were no longer a threat. However, I was stuck with way too many negative traits after a long fought battle. After what seemed like hours taking care of the remaining zombies, I went to wash up, rest, and entertain myself reading some interesting books and magazines. I was almost ready to finally venture downwards through the skyscraper and finally make progress. However, I was then met with more opposition and had to deal with that, being completely exhausted, both mentally and physically. I took a break on the couch and luckily found some food at the kitchen, which was tucked away in the corner of the skyscraper. Once I was in a decent state, I finally took a peek downstairs. I had never gotten this far before, and I was very proud to say the least. Also, very excited to see what's in store for me. After searching door to door and dealing with more zombie stragglers, it seemed like this floor did not offer much. I decided to call it a night, seeing as I was sleepy and needed much needed rest to prepare for the next long day ahead of me. I woke up to a not so pleasant surprise, engulfed with flames. I quickly evacuated my room, counting my lucky stars because I, for whatever reason, survived whatever just happened. I then went down another floor and was on my way to escape, but had to deal with a small group of zombies. And here is where I made the worst possible mistake I could ever make. After being bitten, I had panicked and ran into fire, and that was the end of all my efforts. Despite all my failures, I did not give up. One last try, I thought. So, I got everything prepared, ripping up my clothes for rags, and seeing as how zombies would jump off the ledge on their own led me to use that to my advantage. So, for the next few hours, I spent making these brainless zombies following me around and falling off on their own. After what had felt like an eternity, I finally cleared the majority of zombies and just had to deal with the few remaining. And to my surprise, I had no idea where these zombies came from and realized that it was the beginning of the end for me. After a very desperate struggle, I broke free of the zombies' grasp and somehow, shockingly, made it out alive. Realizing that I was in desperate need of rest, as my body was at its limit, I had to sit down for a while, wondering why my melee attacks would hit multiple zombies. If I could recall, they never did that in my earlier runs. As time went on, I would always be thinking that I would be done with the zombies, but no, I was very wrong. Every minute that went by, zombies just kept on coming up out of nowhere, and I had no idea where or how many more I had to deal with before I could finally sit down and rest. After resting up and taking care of my well-being, I suited up and ventured back downstairs. Instantly, I headed straight for the stairs that would take me down another floor, seeing as the fire was slowly creeping up on me. Upon entering the next floor down, the entire place was engulfed with flames and smoke, and I knew that I had to escape fast before the entire place ended up burning down at my feet. I decided to head to the next floor down, but was met quickly with a zombie, and then fire spread everywhere. I had no clue what happened, but I got scared, and I really did not want the same fate. So, I cautiously made my way to safety. After that, I was ready to head down to the next floor, only to find nothing. Not a single zombie was stirring. So, I headed to the next floor after that. And as it turned out, a bunch of zombies flocked out of the bottom floor hunting me, so I had no choice but to run back to the upper floor where I was familiar with to deal with them. And of course, fire. Fire, fire, fire. It is always fire ruining my day. Ended up burning my left thigh, causing me to limp around. I decided to just use the gun instead because I was in a very sticky situation. with how my leg was. I managed to handle off the zombies pursuing me, but at a cost. I was now back at the top of the skyscraper where I started, in the middle of the night, limping around like this. And to my shocking surprise, the zombies were repopulating the top floor again. I had no idea how they were up here, but it was most likely the gunshots that had alerted them. So now, I was left with a horde of zombies chasing me, while I, sadly, limp away. Hours went by, and it was time for bed. Hoping my leg would magically fix itself tomorrow, I decided to sleep it off. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and I got up just to still be limping around. I made my way back down, messing up already with my encounter with a single zombie, and got bit in the process. And a few minutes later, this is what happened. And that concludes my attempt at escaping this burning tower. After many hours and going through many survivors, I have failed miserably. And still to this day, I don't even know how many more floors I have to go through to finally escape. Will we ever find out? Perhaps another day.